The moment Goku stepped through the crystalline gateway of Shinron, reality itself seemed to shatter and reform around him. The world beyond was neither heaven nor hell. It existed outside the concept of dimensions, a realm where time moved like water and space breathed like a living creature. "Welcome, Son Goku," a voice echoed from everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. "You have entered the domain of dragons. Here, your body means nothing. Your power means nothing. Only your spirit will determine if you survive." Goku's feet touched down on what appeared to be floating islands of pure energy connected by bridges of starlight. The sky above swirled with galaxies and nebulae, each one containing billions of stars being born and dying in the span of seconds. In the distance, he could see massive shapes moving through the cosmic clouds, dragons, each one the size of a planet, their roars creating new dimensions with every breath. "This place," Goku whispered, his battle-hardened instincts on high alert despite the beauty surrounding him. "The energy here is insane. It's like the entire universe is alive." He tried to sense any key signatures, but what he felt instead made his blood run cold. There was no key here, at least in the way he understood it. Everything pulsed with a different kind of energy, something ancient and primordial that existed before ki, before life itself. For the first time in years, Son Goku felt truly vulnerable. Boom! A shockwave of pure heat exploded across the realm. Goku raised his arms instinctively, his aura flaring as he powered up to Super Saiyan Blue. The blue godly energy crackled around him, his hair shifting to azure as divine ki flowed through his body. But even in this form, he could feel the overwhelming presence approaching. Roar! The sound shook the very fabric of reality, causing the floating islands to crack and splinter. From the crimson sky descended a dragon wreathed in flames that burned with colors that shouldn't exist. Purple fire, black flames that radiated light, golden infernos that froze instead of burned. Its scales were like molten gold, each one carved with ancient symbols that predated written language. Its eyes were twin suns of pure fire, containing the birth and death of a million stars within their depths. When it landed before Goku, the ground itself ignited, transforming into a sea of cosmic fire that didn't consume, but transformed everything it touched. The dragon was easily 300 feet tall, its presence so overwhelming that Goku felt his Super Saiyan Du form flickering, struggling to maintain itself against the sheer pressure of this being's existence. "I am Ignis of the eternal flame," the dragon's voice boomed like 1,000 volcanoes erupting in harmony. Each word sent ripples through reality itself. "Guardian of the first fire, keeper of creation's forge, and the one who has burned before the first universe drew breath. You stand before me seeking the power of the dragon god, mortal. But power without understanding is merely destruction without purpose." Ignis lowered his massive head, bringing one enormous eye level with Goku. Within that eye, Goku could see universes being born and destroyed, the endless cycle of creation and annihilation playing out in an instant. "First trial, show me you understand the true meaning of destruction." Goku's Saiyan instincts kicked in immediately. He dropped into his fighting stance, his blue aura intensifying as he gathered his energy. "All right, if it's a fight you want, I won't hold back. Ha!" With explosive speed, Goku launched himself at Ignis, his fist pulled back and charged with enough divine energy to shatter a planet. The air itself screamed as he broke the sound barrier 1,000 times over, his attack leaving a trail of blue fire in his wake. Wham! His punch connected directly with Ignis's chest, and absolutely nothing happened. The dragon didn't even flinch. What? Goku's eyes widened in shock. That punch had enough power behind it to destroy entire solar systems, yet it had zero effect. Before he could react, Ignis's massive claw moved with speed that defied the dragon's size. Crash! Goku was swatted away like an insect, his body crashing through 3 floating islands before he managed to stop himself. He coughed, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth, his ribs screaming in agony despite his godly form. "Impossible!" he gasped, wiping the blood away. "That barely looked like he tried." He powered up further, his aura exploding outward as he pushed Super Saiyan Blue to its absolute limits. The blue energy around him intensified, crackling with silver hints as he began to tap into Ultra Instinct. "Kaioken times 20!" he roared. His aura turned into a mixture of blue and crimson, his power multiplying exponentially. The very realm around him began to crack from the pressure of his energy. He blitzed forward again, this time moving so fast that he created afterimages, each one real enough to have its own presence. He struck from 100 different angles simultaneously, punches, kicks, energy blasts, each one carrying enough force to obliterate galaxies. Bam! 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 Every single attack connected. The sound was like thunder across dimensions. And Ignis stood completely unmoved, not a single scratch on his golden scales. "You still don't understand, warrior. Strike me with all your power if you wish. You could punch me for 1,000 years and nothing would change. The trial is not about destroying me." Goku powered down, breathing heavily, his body aching from the exertion. Frustration bubbled up inside him, a feeling he rarely experienced. He'd fought gods, angels, and beings of unimaginable power, but this was different. This wasn't about being stronger or faster. This was something else entirely. Then what is it about?" he asked, his voice carrying genuine confusion. "If it's not about fighting, then how do I pass this trial?" Ignis's eyes gleamed with something that might have been approval at the question. The dragon spread his massive wings, each one spanning miles, and suddenly the entire realm around them burst into flames. "Destruction that creates," declared Ignis. "Watch and learn, Son Goku. See the truth that existed before gods walked the cosmos." The dragon unleashed a torrent of cosmic fire that consumed everything. The floating islands, the bridges of starlight, the very air itself seemed to burn with flames that existed beyond the physical plane. Goku raised his arms to defend himself, his energy flaring instinctively, but the flames didn't hurt him. Instead, he watched in absolute amazement as the fire consumed the old landscape. And from the ashes, new worlds were born. Where there had been simple floating islands, now entire ecosystems emerged. Trees of crystal sprouted from the scorched ground, their branches reaching toward the cosmic sky, each leaf refracting light into rainbow patterns that sang with harmonic frequencies. Rivers of liquid starlight flowed through valleys that hadn't existed moments before, their waters containing the building blocks of life itself. Strange and beautiful creatures began to appear, beings of pure energy taking physical forms, adapting to the new environment. They weren't created by Ignis, they emerged naturally from the rich foundation his destruction had provided. "Do you see?" Ignis's voice had softened, taking on the tone of a wise teacher. "True destruction is not an end. It is a transformation, a metamorphosis from what was to what can be. The old must burn so the new can rise from its ashes." The dragon's massive form coiled around Goku, not threatening but protective, like a parent embracing a child. When he spoke next, his words carried the weight of eons. "A forest fire seems devastating to those who witness it. Trees burn, animals flee, and destruction reigns. But what comes after? The dead wood that choked new growth is cleared. The soil is enriched with ash and nutrients. Seeds that could only germinate in extreme heat finally sprout. In 5 years, the forest is more alive than it was in 50 years before the fire." Goku listened intently, his mind beginning to grasp the concept, but struggling with its implications.
A star must die in a supernova, the most destructive force in the natural universe, to create the heavy elements that form planets. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the carbon that makes up your very DNA, all of it was forged in the death throes of ancient stars. Destruction and creation are not opposites, warrior. They are partners in the eternal dance of existence. Goku slowly lowered his arms, the blue aura around him fading as he powered down completely. He looked around at the new world Ignis had created, really seeing it for the first time. "I never thought about it that way," he admitted quietly. "I've always just destroyed things that needed to be destroyed. Bad guys, evil planets, threats to Earth, but I never thought about what came after. Your ultra instinct allows you to move without thinking," Ignis said, his massive tail creating new patterns in the cosmic sand. "But it is still reactive, still defensive. You dodge attacks, you counter strikes, you survive through instinct. That is the peak of martial arts, yes, but it is not enough for what you seek to become." The dragon's massive eyes blazed brighter, the heat of 1,000,000,000 suns condensed into those twin orbs of flame. "To pass this trial, you must show me that you can destroy with purpose, with intention, with the understanding that what you tear down, you do so to build something greater. You must learn to see the potential in destruction, not just the loss." Goku closed his eyes, and memories flooded through his mind like a raging river. Planet Vegeta, destroyed by Frieza, leading to his survival and the protection of Earth. The Saiyan race nearly extinct, but their legacy lived on through him, Vegeta, and their children. Frieza's empire torn down through years of rebellion and his own defeat at Goku's hands. The Red Ribbon Army torn down twice over, but Dr. Gero's hatred led to the creation of androids 17 and 18, who became protectors of Earth.
Cell, an abomination created from stolen DNA. His destruction led to Gohan awakening his true potential and gave Earth 7 years of peace. Even Kid Buu's complete annihilation led to the birth of Oob, a pure soul with incredible potential who would one day protect the Earth. "Every time I've destroyed something," Goku said slowly, opening his eyes with new understanding dawning in them, "something new grew from it. I just never saw it as my responsibility. I thought my job ended when the threat was gone." "And that is where you were wrong," Ignis said firmly, but not unkindly. "The Dragon God is not merely a warrior. A Dragon God is a force of nature, of change, of evolution, of transformation. To wield that power, you must accept responsibility not just for what you destroy, but for what rises from those ashes." Goku nodded slowly, then took a deep breath. He could feel something shifting inside him, a new understanding taking root in his soul. He raised his hand and energy began to gather, but this time it was different. Instead of the destructive ki he usually wielded, something new formed in his palm. It pulsed with a strange duality, one half swirling with the violent energy of destruction, the other glowing with the gentle light of creation. Trying to hold both in balance was like trying to mix water and oil, to hold fire and ice in the same hand without either overwhelming the other. Sweat poured down Goku's face as he concentrated harder than he ever had before. This wasn't about power, he had plenty of that. This was about control, about understanding, about fundamentally changing how he viewed his own energy. His body began to tremble from the effort. The two opposing forces wanted to tear each other apart, to destroy each other, but Goku held them together through sheer force of will, refusing to let either side win. "That's it. he growled through gritted teeth. "You're both part of the same thing. Destruction and creation, two sides of the same coin." The energy in his palm began to stabilize, the two halves slowly merging into something new. It wasn't blue like his godly ki, nor silver like Ultra Instinct. It was something else, a swirling mix of crimson and gold, pulsing with the rhythm of stars being born and dying. "I think I've got it!" Goku shouted, and with a powerful thrust, he released the energy. The blast shot forward and struck one of the new crystal trees Ignis had created. But instead of destroying it, something incredible happened. The tree dissolved into pure energy, its structure breaking down completely. But that energy immediately reformed into 3 new trees, each one more vibrant and alive than the original. The destruction had created more life, not less. Goku stared at his hand in wonder, then at the new trees, then back at his hand. A huge grin spread across his face, his signature expression of joy when learning something new. "I did it! I actually did it! That was amazing! Did you see that, Ignis?" The dragon's laughter boomed across the realm, a sound like the roar of a wildfire mixed with the crackling of a warm hearth. It was fierce and comforting at all once. "You begin to understand, Son Goku," Ignis said with unmistakable pride in his voice. "This is only the first step on a long path, but it is the most important step. Destruction is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It shows you what must change, what must evolve, what must be transformed." The dragon's form began to glow, his scales burning with an intensity that would vaporize normal matter. He rose up on his hind legs, spreading his wings wide, and spoke with the voice of prophecy. "Remember this lesson in the battles to come, warrior. You will face enemies that cannot be simply defeated. You will encounter problems that cannot be simply solved. In those moments, you will need to destroy parts of yourself to become what you must be. You will need to let old ways burn so new understanding can emerge." Ignis's entire body erupted into flames, not destructive fire, but transformative energy. The flames spiraled inward, condensing, compressing down into a single point of light that shot forward and merged with Goku's chest. "Ah!" Goku screamed as the essence of Ignis flowed into his body. It felt like his entire being was on fire, every cell burning and reforming, his DNA rewriting itself on a fundamental level. Knowledge flooded his mind, the wisdom of creation through destruction, the understanding that every ending contains a beginning, the truth that nothing truly dies, it only transforms. When the pain finally subsided, Goku fell to one knee, breathing heavily. But when he looked up, his eyes briefly flashed with flames before returning to normal. He could feel Ignis's presence inside him now, not controlling him, but guiding him, a new layer of understanding added to his soul. "Thank you," Goku said quietly, genuine gratitude in his voice. "I learned something today that I should have understood a long time ago." But there was no time to rest or reflect on the lesson. The realm began to shift, the cosmic landscape transforming around him. The islands of crystal and fire dissolved, replaced by something entirely different. Goku felt himself falling, the ground vanishing beneath his feet. He plummeted through layers of reality, each one showing him a different version of the cosmos. He saw universes being born, expanding, contracting, and dying. He saw timelines splitting and merging. He saw the very fabric of existence flowing like a great river. And then he hit water. Chapter 2:
the flowing depths of transformation. Goku plunged deep into an ocean that defied all logic and reason. This wasn't water in any normal sense. It was liquid reality, sentient and aware, flowing with thoughts and emotions and memories that weren't his own. It pressed against him from all sides, and he could feel it trying to communicate, trying to teach him something through osmosis rather than words. The pressure here was different from anything he'd experienced. It wasn't physical pressure like deep-sea diving, nor was it the spiritual pressure of overwhelming ki. This was the pressure of infinite possibility, of potential unrealized, of paths not taken. Every drop of this cosmic ocean represented a choice, a change, a transformation that could be, but wasn't yet. From the infinite depths rose a presence that dwarfed even Ignis, a dragon of pure liquid, its body constantly shifting and changing, never the same from one moment to the next. Its scales were waves that crashed and reformed eternally. Its eyes were whirlpools of ancient wisdom, spiraling inward to depths that had no bottom. When it moved, currents and riptides reshaped entire sections of the ocean realm. I am Aquaria of the infinite depths. The water dragon's voice flowed like a river, sometimes a gentle stream, sometimes a roaring rapid, always moving, always changing. Keeper of the flowing path, guardian of transformation's tide, the one who has moved since before stillness existed. You seek to become Dragon God Son Goku, but you still cling to rigidity. You still hold forms that were meant to be released. Aquarius forms swirled around Goku, circling him like a shark studying prey. But there was no malice in the movement, only assessment. Second trial. Show me you can flow with change, not fight against it.
Before Goku could respond or even take a proper defensive stance, the attack came. But it wasn't a strike or a blast or any form of direct assault. The water itself became the weapon. It surged toward him in a massive wave, a tsunami of cosmic force that threatened to drown him in its embrace, to dissolve his very being into the infinite ocean. Goku's instincts screamed at him to defend. His hands came up, energy gathering in his palms as he prepared to blast the wave away. Kame, wrong. Aquaria's voice thundered through the water, the sound waves nearly rupturing Goku's eardrums even though he was underwater. You seek to resist, to push back, to fight the current, but water does not fight water. It joins, it flows, it adapts to every obstacle. The wave crashed over Goku before he could release his attack, spinning him around violently, disorienting him completely. Up became down, left became right. He had no reference points, no way to orient himself. The water moved in ways that defied physics, flowing upward, sideways, in directions that shouldn't exist. He tried to power up, transforming into Super Saiyan Blue, his aura exploding outward to push the water away. But the water simply flowed around his energy, absorbing it, redirecting it, using his own power against him. The harder he pushed, the stronger the current became. Panic began to set in. Goku was one of the strongest beings in the multiverse, had faced gods and destroyers, had mastered Ultra Instinct. But here, in this alien realm, his power meant nothing. He was drowning. His lungs, which could survive in space for limited periods, which had endured the vacuum of destroyed worlds, now burned with the need for air. His vision started to blur at the edges, dark spots appearing as oxygen deprivation set in. I can't breathe, he thought desperately, his movements becoming more frantic, more uncontrolled. Have to get to the surface. Where's the surface? Then stop trying to breathe as you did before. Aquaria's voice thundered through the water, the sound waves nearly rupturing Goku's eardrums even though he was underwater. You seek to resist, to push back, to fight the current, but water does not fight water. It joins, it flows, it adapts to every obstacle. Goku's mind raced even as his consciousness began to fade. Adapt? How could he adapt to not being able to breathe? He was a Saiyan, not a fish. He needed air, needed oxygen, needed... Wait. Master Roshi's voice echoed in his memory, from lessons given decades ago on a tiny island when Goku was just a child learning the basics of martial arts. Be like water, Goku. Water takes the shape of whatever contains it, yet it can carve through solid stone given time. The bamboo that bends in the storm survives, while the mighty oak that refuses to yield is uprooted. At the time, young Goku hadn't really understood what his teacher meant. He'd thought it was just some wise-sounding advice. But now, on the verge of death in an ocean of cosmic consciousness, the meaning became crystal clear. He'd been fighting the water, fighting the change, trying to remain Goku the Saiyan warrior in an environment that identity meant nothing. With what might be his last moment of consciousness, Goku made a choice. He stopped fighting. He stopped trying to swim against the current, stopped trying to find the surface, stopped trying to breathe air that didn't exist. He let go of everything he thought he knew about how his body worked, how reality worked. He surrendered to the water. And the moment he did, everything changed. The water was no longer crushing him. It was embracing him. The current that had been drowning him became a gentle flow that carried him. And somehow, impossibly, he could breathe. Not in the normal way. He wasn't breathing water into his lungs. Instead, his entire body became permeable, allowing the essence of the water to flow through him, providing what he needed directly to his cells. He didn't need lungs anymore because he'd adapted beyond the need for lungs. Goku's eyes snapped open, no longer panicked, but clear and focused. He looked at his hands and watched in fascination as they became translucent, almost liquid themselves, before re-solidifying. Yes! Aquaria's form materialized before him, her liquid body swirling with approval. Now you begin to understand. You released your rigid form and allowed yourself to become what the situation required. But understanding is not mastery, warrior. Knowing the path and walking the path are very different things. Show me you have truly learned. The water dragon's body suddenly separated into 1,000 individual streams, each one hardening into a spike of crystallized water. They all pointed at Goku, hovering in the cosmic ocean like a field of deadly needles. "Defend yourself," Aquaria commanded. All 1,000 spikes launched simultaneously from every conceivable angle. In his normal state, even with Ultra Instinct, Goku would have had to dodge or block. His body would have moved automatically, finding the gaps in the attack pattern, deflecting the strikes he couldn't avoid. But that wasn't the lesson here. Instead of dodging, Goku flowed. When a spike came from his left, he didn't move right. He simply stopped being solid in that location. His body became like water, and the spike passed harmlessly through him. When 3 spikes came from above, he didn't duck. He shifted into a new form entirely, his body rippling and reforming in a position where the attacks had no target. It was similar to Ultra Instinct, but fundamentally different. Ultra Instinct made his body move without conscious thought, achieving the ultimate separation of mind and body. This new technique made his entire being adapt to each situation, becoming what was needed in the moment. His form wasn't fixed, it was fluid, constantly changing, infinitely variable. The 1,000 spikes continued their assault, attacking faster and faster, the pattern becoming increasingly complex. But Goku matched every escalation. When the spikes began to curve and change direction mid-flight, he allowed his body to flow in multiple directions simultaneously. When they started combining into larger weapons, he dispersed himself into mist and reformed elsewhere. He was grinning now, that pure joy of learning something new radiating from him, despite the mortal danger. This is incredible! I feel like I'm not even really here anymore, but I'm everywhere at once.
Magnificent, Aquarius said, her attack ceasing as her form coalesced back into a single dragon. Now you understand that strength is not about being unmovable or unchanging. True strength is in accepting change and using it to become stronger. The river that fights against the rock eventually wears itself out and evaporates, but the river that flows around the rock shapes the entire landscape over thousands of years, carving canyons and creating new paths. She swam closer to Goku, her watery eyes reflecting his image back at him, but in the reflection, he looked different, more fluid, more adaptable, more complete.
In your life, you have always been able to adapt in battle, Aquaria continued, her voice taking on a serious tone. Transforming into new forms, learning new techniques, finding new levels of power when you needed them. Your ability to grow and evolve has been your greatest strength. But you have resisted change in other ways, have you not? Goku's smile faded slightly as her words hit home. He thought about all the times Vegeta had criticized him for being naive, for not taking his responsibilities seriously, for acting like a child when he should act like a father and husband. All the times Chi-Chi had been frustrated with him for disappearing to train instead of providing for his family. All the times his sons had needed him and he'd been off fighting, or dead, or training in Otherworld. He'd grown stronger, yes, but had he really grown? You clung to being Son Goku the martial artist because it's comfortable, Aquarius said, not cruelly, but with the blunt honesty of someone who sees the truth clearly. You avoided the harder transformations, growing as a father, as a husband, as a leader. You let others handle the complicated parts of life while you focused on the simple joy of fighting. Goku started to protest, but the words died in his throat. She was right. He knew she was right. He'd always taken the easy path when it came to personal growth, leaving the hard stuff to Bulma, to Chi-Chi, to his friends. He trained his body to perfection, but neglected to train his character with the same dedication. Vegeta changed, Aquaria continued. He went from a ruthless killer to a family man, from a loner to someone who fights for others. He transformed in ways that had nothing to do with power levels. That is why, despite having less raw talent than you, he has sometimes surpassed you. He was willing to change everything about himself. The words stung because they were true. Goku had always thought of himself as the hero, the one who saved everyone. But heroes had to grow too. Heroes had responsibilities beyond just being strong. To master the Dragon God power, you must be willing to let go of Son Goku and become something more, Aquaria said, her form expanding to encompass the entire ocean realm. Not to lose yourself, but to transcend yourself. The caterpillar does not cease to exist when it becomes a butterfly. It transforms into something greater. Can you do that, warrior? Can you change not just your power, but your very nature? Goku floated in the cosmic ocean, surrounded by infinite possibilities, infinite paths he could take. For a long moment he was silent, really thinking about the question. It would be easy to say yes and move on, but this trial required honesty, required him to truly commit to change. He thought about Gohan, about how his son had surpassed him, but then stopped fighting to focus on his family and his studies. Goku had never understood that choice. How could Gohan give up getting stronger? But maybe Gohan had understood something Goku didn't. Maybe there were more important things to grow than just power. He thought about Goten and Trunks, who looked up to him and Vegeta. What kind of example was he setting? That the only thing that mattered was being the strongest? That family came second to training? He thought about Chi-Chi, who had stuck with him through death and resurrection, through his obsession with training, through everything. She'd asked so little of him, and he'd given even less. Finally, Goku opened his eyes, and there was a new maturity in his gaze that hadn't been there before. "Yeah," he said quietly, but with absolute conviction. "I can. I will.
I've been selfish, hiding behind the excuse of protecting Earth, when really I just wanted to fight strong guys.